Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Once again, I'm Nev from Nev's Tech Bits, otherwise known as your friendly neighborhood basement dweller. Don't worry, ma'am, I am from the internet. I'm about to get out the door, but first I got a little bit of a story for you, a little bit of a thought for you. I bet none of you feminists know who this individual is over here, and I know feminists are going to be watching this because you love being pissed off, just like I love being scared for Freddy Krueger movies, for Friday the 13th. I just loved it. So I get that. Feminists, you just like being pissed off, and the story that I'm telling you is going to prove it. Because you have no idea who she is. You have no idea who Riley Reid is. You don't know any porn stars on. You could say anything about true crime, about regular people who are torn asunder by crazy men. You can do that all day long. You can find those. You all have the names of the men, like, But there's something that's interesting. I'm in this game for technology, but also society and information, because I really do think that spirits and the supernatural are all just extractions of ourselves, our thought. Magic, the placebo effect works. That's magic. The Philip experiment produces ghosts. That's magic, like, absolutely. So, ladies, you got to work some of your own magic, and you got to understand some of this hell that actually exists out there, and you got to do it because all y'all that went up to post-secondary and then came back to the small towns are saying that every white person is a horrible person and they're guilty for this, that, and the other thing. Ladies, we're not. We're not. I've always been progressive. All my family have been progressive. Don't tell me my reality, but what reality that I want to tell you is feminists don't actually care about the overall feminism things if they've never heard a story about a porn star. If they've never heard a story from beginning to end of at least one porn star. Most of these feminists these days and progressives could tell you a million stories about a girl that didn't deserve it. Like, absolutely. No one ever deserves to get, first of all, well, I'm not touching that one, actually. I'm just going to take that whole thing back, and we're not going to get into that. But legitimately, I keep hearing women go down the tube of abuse and abuse and abuse, but they'll never go down the tubes of the reality that porn stars face, because porn stars, themselves, realize that there are certain responsibilities on their side if they want to be getting all this thing. And not only that, women can't stand women who are more beautiful than them. Not all of them, of course. Some of them don't really care. But if you get like a really good-looking girl, girls, you know, come on. We're not having this conversation. Girls, we're not having this conversation because y'all know damn well. You know what's really funny, girls? Okay. I was in Project Chanology. I fought Scientology directly with Anonymous. And the biggest issue that we had was women on women. There was one woman who was in the Kitchener group. There was one woman in the Toronto group. She got kicked out of the Toronto group, came over to the Kitchener group. There was only one, okay, two other girls, but only one other that was, like, takeable. And she had her cronies from Toronto rip this other girl apart. Because there was this thing, girls, you know, you take on responsibility, girls. You do some shit sometimes. Sometimes you're mean girls. That's one thing that the feminists never talk about, the mean girls. Yeah, there's movies made about it. We know about it. It's a trope, but the mean girls never make it into the whole white man, bad patriarchy taking over everything. And the thing, 10 years ago, everyone said it was crazy for this shit. But no, it's just the first one who was actually listening to these feminists who were coming out of academia, which also thinks that we need to depopulate. And I swear to God, they got this idea that you get these intelligent people and these unwashed masses. But legitimately, women, I want you to find a porn star. And I want you to read their biography from beginning to end. This lady back here, I have a difficult time remembering her name because it's a little bit different. Animal Farm is what I can remember it from. Bottle Johansson. I have a hard time with that one. But here's something y'all ladies don't know. When you were growing up in the 80s, even in the 90s, when a lot of us know that have friends that had pornography stashes, and sometimes when we found those stashes, this movie was in there. We turned it on, and this was there. This kind of went underground, apparently. I might have seen clips of it way back in the day. I've never seen the whole thing, but I have friends on Xbox who told me, like, in the middle of the night, just like Dude, I found my dad's porn stash and I was blown away. I've never searched for it. But you know, sometimes you're on places of the internet and you find stuff and you kind of run into it. It was a woman that made this happen. It was a woman who destroyed this woman. And yeah, we're talking about the patriarchy, we're talking about all of this stuff. Let's come back to one thing. About the Epsteins and the Weinsteins and the Donald Trumps and all of these things. There's one thing they have in common. Women agree to be with them. They want the money. Your tatas get you stuff, and it gets you stuff, and you use them to get you things. Come on, women, come on. There are women right now using sex to get legal advice. It's happening. There are women using sex to get drugs. It happens. This is like, ladies, if you're going to have your patriarchy and you're all that stuff, you got to talk about your nightclubs and the time when you call up your dealer's friends who also have stuff, because you need some blow and spice. Now, some women, you have no idea what I'm talking about. And to you, I want to tell you, there is a lot more spice and swinging going on out there than you realize. But one thing I want you to know that your sisters don't tell you is you don't have to take part in that. If you do that, your life goes one way. If you don't, your life goes in another way. And it's okay to choose either way. But if you have children, don't get them involved. And this is a hell we're still realizing. Women out there, I hear you saying, oh, swingers? Swingers. That's okay. They just have a different life. And then everyone adds this thing. Well, I know plenty of straight people who have messed people up. Guys, so here's the thing you don't want to know. You're going to say it's not reality. Maybe in your reality it's not real. I have girlfriends who are into BDSM. Do I look normal? My first girlfriend was a cutter. She loved to drink blood, and I wasn't into that, but she loved to smack. She loved to do all this stuff. Yeah, there's some of you girls that are really into that, and it messes us up, legitimately. Legitimately. Don't get your kids involved. The BDSM community of females that you're going to tell me you know, that you know nothing about, is having an issue with this happening. So what we as females have to do is we have to go out there and make sure that if a female friend says, hey, I'm hooking up with this new guy, and so is my 15-year-old daughter, so is my 16-year-old daughter, if you don't do something about that, if you don't tell the police, you are a demon. You're a bad person. You're a bad person. You might as well just be as bad as the person doing it. This happens. It's happening. Like, we got these mental blocks in our head. Like, the people on the right like to think farmers never do anything bad and they're godly. And the people on the left like to think progressives can't do anything wrong. And you can't think anything bad about that. Guess who else had that idea? The Roman Catholic Church. Guess how that turned out? Guys, we're trying something new here, right? Feminists, we're trying something new here. We're on our fourth wave. We're on RadFem. We do not want equality anymore. We're out for blood. Guys, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Like, seriously, I see some feminists getting out there, posting things on the internet, and then getting surprised when they actually get output. Women, some of you women are so rich and beautiful that you don't know reality anymore. It's seriously happening. Things are getting worse for the people at the bottom. And this hell that you don't want to realize about, do you see the flies on her leg? She made love to that animal. And many people purchased it. This was from mental issues that had nothing to do with the man. Nothing to do with the man. So, like, here's one thing feminists love to do. They love to invade my space. They've taken my space from the bottom to the top. They took my space and read it. Like, all I needed was a little bit of dark space, and then read it, and then just being able to have my information and point of view. I can't have that anymore. Social justice warriors have invaded the internet. They've invaded Reddit. Yes, no, you've invaded Reddit, SJWs. You've totally invaded Reddit. I have no longer been able to have my point of view. I have had to come out and come out of the closet and reveal secrets about myself I never wanted to. I'm in the small town, and sometimes it's not always the greatest thing to reveal things. But in the progressive communities, mostly in the cities, there are some things you simply can't say unless you're one thing or the other. Fine. If I need to admit the things that have happened to me in the past and what it's done to me, I'm wearing pink. I'm bisexual. Tell me my reality. Tell me my story. Seriously. And that's one issue that we've got here. That's one thing I'm trying to check you on. We got to work together, guys. Like, yeah, the patriarchy and all that stuff. And feminists. Read the biography of one porn star. One. I want you to know that most porn stars are also prostitutes on the side. Is there anything wrong with that? I don't think so. But what really upsets me is I date progressive women. I am the type of guy that progressive women love to date. And they love to tell me all the time about, like, I'll hit a nail on them and trigger them, and they'll go off this way. And what most guys will do is be like, oh, don't let me hurt your feelings. Don't let me hurt your feelings. It is impressively clear to me that the individuals that these people have been talking to have not had to subjugate these individuals to reality. Now, I'm in a place where I failed. I can no longer afford a place of my own. I'm in my folks' place again. The price of housing is unbelievably crazy, though I live in the biggest country of all time, and nobody really cares about that. Nobody really cares. But what I love doing in this position is rubbing people's faces in it that put me here, that put my disabled daughter here. Girls, you can be wrong. Men can be wrong. Like, we know men can be wrong, right? But we legitimately have an issue here that women will say to other women, oh, don't worry, keep going, you're murdering people, that's okay, you're robbing banks, keep going, you gotta be positive, it's the universe saying these things, it's the universe doing things, because you don't want to be real, you don't want to be negative, but at a certain point we got to be negative. Now, because of the way we're so worried that kids can't even walk around the goddamn block anymore. Riddle me that, what's going on there? Like, legitimately. Women need to catch women. Men need to catch men. As I'm dating these progressive, these therapists and stuff, I'm absolutely seeing things that shouldn't be there. And I'm telling my men friends about this, and I'm getting shit. I'm definitely getting shit. And I'm going back to my chick friends who are also giving me shit and acting like I am one of these men guys. Ladies, you gotta stop that. This is not the way to win friends and influence people. You're all being like a bunch of Palestinian artards who are just blowing things up like the Internet Archive. And that's another thing. Ladies, careful of Palestinians. They just took down the Internet Archive. Why? Like, if they took down your Starbucks, like, let's make it a personal thing about you, because let's face it, it's all about you. You're not actually interested in all that stuff. You're just interested in showing us how everything's so hard because of subjugation and all this. No, that's not how it goes. The rich have all the fucking money. The rich are the ones who are talking to Trudeau. You know how you're in high school and you can make things and you can make friends hate people just based off of your popularity? You can make things change based off of your popularity. That's what's going on with the rich class and with Trudeau. Trudeau is hanging out with the rich class. This is what's happening in the States all over. Nancy Pelosi always knows what stocks to buy because she knows the right people. She knows the right information. There's people at the top who have the information, who are within these leadership classes. This year will be the first year that a Bush, a Kennedy, and two other types of families won't be going up for presidency. Now, that's the thing. We have these classes of people that everyone knows as leaders, so they get put in by people that we don't even know. And these people that don't even know. And they act like they know, but they don't. And they lie when they say that these people get together outside in really cultish conglomerations. Now look this up. Bohemian Grove. Bohemian Grove. But at the same time, I think a Roman Catholic Mass and wedding is a little bit cultish. I don't know, I have to stand and but then again, somebody might be able to say that the Boy Scouts campfires are a little bit cultish. Yeah, but seriously, Bohemian Grove, I will never forget. Like, look up Bohemian Grove. At first, there was a time when everyone was like, no, it's not. And then Alex Jones jumped the fence and I hate that guy. I hate that guy. But you got to give the devil its due. There was a time when he actually did have answers. And he figured out Bohemian Grove. And girls, you have a Bohemian Grove that you're not talking about. You guys get together on Twitter. You like to talk about each other being hurt by men and destroying the fabric of society. And saying other societies are better. You don't want to build a society. You want to be rich. You want to have everything for yourself at the end of the day. And you have to be able to admit that you want that. Like, legitimately. There's good and bad and good. And just because you're beautiful doesn't mean you're a good person. Just because you're LGBTQ doesn't mean you're good. Just because you're a farmer doesn't mean you're good. There are abject hells that we have to look at. And my problem is that all the feminists that I'm talking to get so offended, hurt, upset when I try to tell them realities that are real. They're always worried about telling me stories versus reality. Realities that are real. They don't want to talk about why Riley Reid only does oral. They don't want to talk about ladies like this. This is reality that they weren't trained for in their post-secondary school. And absolutely, post-secondary is definitely dropping these ideas in their heads. Before I even heard feminists say it. I heard clinical psychologists being terrified that people in the humanities in these universities were saying these things like only have one kid because the world's overpopulating. Like, man, how about you just don't have any kids? Don't tell us what to do. Like, now here's the thing. Feminists, you're smart. You're leaving some girls behind because you're acting like cool girls. You need to start learning the hells that porn stars go through. But you don't want to. Because they're beautiful. And men love them. And they'll do anything for them. Women don't like talking about these realities because men like it. And because they have a foot of responsibility. So Christianity, any religion, is based on we sin. We all sin. We are human, so we sin, right? Like, we all hate Christianity. But let's face it. If we're going to compare ourselves to a movement, there we go. Okay, they suck, right? LGBTQ, you hate Christians, right? We all sin. LGBTQ, do any of you sin? Pride was a sin once. But like, to them, in this group, do they think that all of them are beyond doing anything wrong? It had nothing to do with a man. You don't know who she is. That is the hell that you're putting us in. People refuse to talk to me about this stuff. This is part of the argument. It does not fit the narrative that feminists have. This narrative has invaded social areas and is literally springing up directly from Twitter, but mostly TikTok. Absolutely it is. Now, the next thing everyone wants to do is to tell me my reality and to tell me that none of this is actually real. And to them, I would like to say, the internet is my reality. Ladies, I come from the internet. I remember what the internet was like before TikTok and COVID. I know exactly what TikTok and COVID did to it. We're beyond that. You guys are here with your TikTok. TikTok can do no wrong, right? TikTok, social media, now you're like, oh, hey, why would this individual say bad things about social media? And these aren't conversations I'm making up in my own head. These are conversations that I've had with people. I'm trying to lay it out here to show you how your stuff isn't working, the same way that I did it for Catholics, the same way I did it for Baptists. Real is real. And if something starts telling us that real is not real, then that's not good. At a certain point, the Catholics became pedophiles and became bad, but kept saying, we're good because we're Catholics. You know damn well that's not the case. We're having that issue with the LGBTQ. None of them can tell me who John Money is and what he did wrong. But guess what, guys? In another 20 years, they're going to make documentaries about that stuff. Because it's us fucking up now. We don't want to hear stories about us fucking up. But we are. We don't want to hear stories about it. But when our kids come across it, like our kids are growing up in this bullshit that we're making. And this bullshit we're making, we all agree. Like, let's face it. Oh, God, it feels like since after COVID, we've been through about 20 or 30 years worth of society changes. The Me Too movement changed everything, and not necessarily in a good way. Yes, there needed to be changes, but what really freaking haunts me about that is the men doing all of this stuff were really high up guys, and women still don't like saying much about them. They like messing with the lower guys. Me Too gave women power. And they deserve power. But the issue is they said they didn't have any power. But they did. Guys, this is power. Like, it's power. It's power. Boobs are power. Boobs get you picked up when you're thumbing a ride. And either getting a ride or not getting a ride is a difference between heaven and hell, or being there or not being there. Guys, women, your boobs are finances, and you damn well know it. Can we not do this? Can we not act like you don't have a currency, like you don't have control swinging around between your legs and on your chest? Like, guys, yes, men are controlling. Yes. Yeah, we can deal with that. Now we got to deal with our issues. We need to deal with the objective hell and the fact that I can't talk to feminists about the true lives of porn stars while they are trying to tell me the reality that they're trying to push it into my head. Feminists are literally trying to push a reality into my head the same way the Baptists tried. The Catholics didn't even really care. They're like, yeah, what are, Catholics, right? The Baptists, I remember physically feeling like they were trying to shove bullshit into my head that I needed to check. They told me not to check it, just like the feminists. And when I got it, they wouldn't listen to it, just like the feminists. You see the line I'm dragging here? Yes, we can be this. Yes, we can be that. But we have to be reasonable in the middle, and the reasonable is difficult, and the reasonable gives us less power. And we all want power, right? Ladies, I agree. Men suck sometimes. Sometimes farmers suck. Sometimes drag queens suck. Sometimes we all suck. That's the way it goes. The yin, the yang. Buddhism, the good, the bad, the bad, the good. If you think you're perfect all the time, you have issues, and you're running into the situation where, just like the Catholic Church, you think that at one point they thought this, that everything was bad, or you could get away with certain things just because you were Catholic, and just so yada, yada, yada. But like, let's face it, I'm giving Catholics a lot of crap here because it's really easy to give them crap. But also, I want to point out a few things, now that we're talking about reality. Can we point out that those Catholic graves that we all knew were there, none of them are graves. So far, 0 of them are graves. We owe the Catholics an apology. If there are no graves, guys, we burnt down churches. That's unconscionable. So, like, I know that natives have had a hard time. But guys, natives used to burn each other's native houses down all the time and take each other's native children. Chaconza, say, which I'm sure you have no idea who he is, formed the Great Peace, and he had a wife and 3 daughters, and they all got stolen or died from, something minor. Most of them got stolen. And they never came back. Like, it wasn't like that they took them and then once they reached school age, they gave him back. I never heard of a Catholic selling a kid until the Great Depression. But after the Great Depression, I never heard of a Catholic stealing a kid. Well, let's face it, a lot of people were selling kids in the Great Depression. I'm not sure if we can judge them for that. I don't know. The feminists, you need to learn the documentary of one porn star, or shut your freaking mouth in arguments, all right? Seriously, I know so many people who act like they know frickin' everything, but then when I come to them with a very unfortunate reality, like I had to let someone know what a poop knife was, because I found something in their house. He didn't want to know what it was. It was important for him to know that that was a poop knife. Don't like talking about it, but every now and then we have these spicy things out there that we don't want to talk about, but we need to talk about it, because if we don't, this shit is going to give us or our sisters shit in the future. Okay? Now we're going ahead and doing all of this shit, but as we're doing it, we need to face every reality. And I find that the people trying to keep mommy's babies the safest, they simply don't know reality. And when I try to give them reality, they're like, no, this is reality. And it's like they're made up. No, really? Like, no, I'm like legitimately. Legitimately. So, like, yeah, I'm a freak. But at the end of the day, I can come to the table and call a spade a spade. And when it actually is what it is, say, okay, it is what it is here. Like, we can't raise the dead. I know a lot of people don't like hearing that, but it is what it is. We can't bring someone back from the dead who's been dead a month. And in the ground like a month. Like, maybe once every now and then we can, but if we live our whole life thinking that, then we're going to have a lot of dead people above ground. Like, we have to come back to normal every day. And it's that normal that I just love watching people explode on. It's like Time Cop, watching the guys hit the wall instead of going back in time. You see those 2 red dots there, rookie? That's what happens if you don't make the jump. And my life has been brought to such an interesting place by these internet feminists that there's nothing that I like more than watching them hit that wall. You know what I'd like to do? I would like to collect them and have a lovely life with them, and have them as my neighbors, and have them as my friends, and maybe have one as a partner if I could find one. But they would rather hit that wall. Whoosh. Which is unfortunate. The wall of reality. We all had to face reality at the end of the day. Now that's the thing. Feminists, learn about a porn star. One porn star. If you're a feminist and you don't know one porn star's name, then you have an issue and you don't know reality. And you shouldn't be out there running your mouth. Figure out what your sisters are actually going through. Even the ones that are more beautiful than you, smoking the ivory cock, because their reality is also a reality. They have stories and truths. Just because you don't want to see them doesn't mean that your movement doesn't need you to see these realities so that you can avoid people from hell. Alright? We all gotta be truthful in this shit. We all gotta live together. Learn about a porn star, ladies, and get the hell out of my internet.